Hello, this is Second Impressions, Astound's web series where we discuss real questions about marketing and provide business insiders insight on important issues all related to marketing. I'm Trevor Heaton, and I've got my colleague Greg Bond with me here today. Just the two of us.
Hey.
If you usually tune in, there's usually three of us to do these episodes, but today we've got the two. And honestly, I think it's the two best of the three.
We'll leave it at that then, huh? Because since he can't defend himself, it's the de facto way of going about things. I think the best is often what we have.
It's great. You know, he usually makes comments to me. He's not here I can make whatever comments I want. So, but I know, let's get this started. So we got a question, Greg, from Todd M. He's a CEO. And his question is, my business has come to realize that there's a serious deficits in our buyer journey compared to competition. We know we have to make improvements, but what are the best and most efficient improvements we can make? That is like a Sally sells seashells.
That is a wordy question. I think it sounds like it has a lot of parts to it, but I mean, what I heard was like the discussion around a buyer journey, which I think it's become a pretty common discussion to be had. I think what's interesting is marketing keeps introducing these concepts that are meant to get businesses to focus on their target markets, their target individuals, these people that are what drive their business. And so when I hear something like buyer journey, it sounds like another attempt to get businesses out of their head and to think about buyers and their experiences. I know there's a technical definition for it, but I'm not sure how relevant it is in practice for most businesses. And what I mean by that is if we're going to be thinking about somebody's actual buyer journey, what like is contributing to their buying decisions outside of the things that you're able to do, one of the most powerful things is going to be referrals from other people, referrals from their colleagues, referrals from industry insiders and experts. And so it's those recommendations that carry a lot of weight because people don't expect to be marketed to when those things are going on. They end up taking those people at their word. So it's gotten by their defenses. So that's where I think there's like a big disconnect with businesses is when businesses are thinking about a buyer journey, they're probably thinking about like, what is my involvement? What are the things we're doing? What are we creating to influence somebody's experience? And I think we have to keep basically reminding businesses that the largest parts of people's experiences have nothing to do with the things that they're actually doing themselves. You know, like there's things you could do to try to drive some of those influencers and get more referrals and get more reviews and things like that, clearly. But at the same time, somebody's overall experience is much larger than the business. And so the question is, how can we influence and introduce ourselves into that overall experience in a way that's organic, in a way that doesn't seem pushy and salesy, in a way that gets through those defenses, just like a referral might. So it's weird. At this point, I feel like I would normally toss it over to Erik, but given that he's not here, I just get to keep talking.
Right. Well, and you know, the way I look at this too, so you have the buyer's journey and then you have the sales process. So, and there's some alignment that has to come together within the sales process. For the buyer, you know, they're looking at the need, they're looking at the awareness, and then they're looking at the value proposition. And for the sales process, you know, you're also creating awareness so that the buyer knows that your product is there, right? So there's some things that have to happen in the beginning for that to come together for the buyer and the company to meet on that journey.
Absolutely. I think the big thing about that is playing, like businesses they have to play more. They have to be in the places that their people are at. Now, I know when it comes to B2B type segments where they're there's so many enterprise level businesses that are at least pursuing solutions towards a really limited group of people, like, your CTOs, CIOs, and things like that. And so those people receive such insane amounts of marketing that they're really hard to reach.
Right.
But the way to get through that noise and the marketing stuff is to give people something first that they want to look at, and then give them something that they want to watch. And then you could give them stuff that are about, like, more about you and what you have to offer. But like, if you haven't provided value to people in where they're at, just to their eyes and ears, then they're probably not going to be looking further at the solutions that you have that are just about you. Like, you've already proven that you don't focus on their needs outside of the things that drive your own business. And I think that's where businesses get lost, is, like, honestly, when it comes to efficient marketing and the things that are most effective, like word of mouth, the way so many of the businesses that are doing really well do this is through social media that's very successful. It is through event coordination where they're providing expertise and insights that you can't get elsewhere. And they're doing a good job. Like, a bad event is about, like, one come all. And then what happens is every person who attends is selling to one another. But when you have a good event, they're being screened. You have a higher upfront cost so that those who come have to be focused on higher level activities other than just selling to each person there.
Right.
So you have to go through basically I would say, a lot of curation and a lot of production to get people to understand that you're truly valuing the relationship that they're going to be able to provide. Like, when it comes to those CTOs, those CIOs, it just means you have to invest that much more upfront into those relationships before they're willing to give you the time of day.
Right.
And so what is efficient is figuring out where those people are at and how you can entertain them, get their attention, and then build that awareness and relationship. And then eventually they come. Like, that's what marketing does best. Sales is all about that, like, hunt oriented thing, or taking the prospects that have already been warmed up through marketing and working them through the process. And I think if you talk to anybody who's in sales, they're going to prefer those prospects that have had those feelings, those relationships that build up, so that when they come through, they know what they're in for. All you're doing is making sure that the process is tailored and customized to that individual as it can be, because they're going to know what their problems are. They're the expert at their problems. The question is, how can we then associate our solution as the common sense way of dealing with their problems? So that's the thing.
What I look at too when you say that, because you talk about the problems the customers have and they know their problems. When a customer identifies their problem, the way I see this is they go through, the way the sales process worked 15, 20 years ago till now, I feel like the landscape has totally changed. Customers can now go online. They can do their independent online research. There's web searches, white paper downloads. There's honestly an overwhelming amount of information about the problem online, which has kind of changed the way that we sell to customers, because they do so much research on the back end. And so aligning our process with the customer's journey, it's changed.
That's because people are comparing what brands offer to other experiences they've had with other brands that have done really good jobs and have dedicated tons of resources to it. Normal B2B business is competing with Disney in a lot of ways. You're competing with the best of the best because people have these expectations of being catered to. It's a great world for us to be in as consumers. It just lifts the bar that much higher for marketers to be able to deliver based on the experiences that people expect to receive. The hardest thing for businesses, though, is just getting out of their heads. Like, they're so stuck in this insular world that they have all their jargon, they have their board meetings, they have their operations and their products and services that they're expert in, but really none of that matters when it comes to people's experiences of the business.
Right.
That's like what marketers offer the best solutions to, is putting those customers, those potential customers, those people in the room, in the boardroom, in the operations facility, so that as these things are getting developed and moving forward and being taught about, that those individuals are in the room and they're always being considered. Because I think too many businesses, when they think about an experience in the buyer journey, they're just thinking about themselves in another way. They're just thinking about, oh, I need new landing pages, and it's not that. It's about really delivering an experience to people the best you can where they're at. And that often involves getting outside of your product. Like if you can include your product, that's wonderful. But first, to get awareness, you have to get attention.
Yeah. So, I guess let me go back to the question. Let's make sure we're answering this correctly for him. So, that just the deficits in the buyer journey compared to the competition. So, I think that's exactly what you just said, is the experience. I mean, that's often what makes the difference in your, I could look at many different things I've been involved with purchasing lately. And honestly, it's all about the experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I could use examples of Costco versus other companies, and I go to Costco because they take care of me. The experience in working with them is great. So I continue to work with them.
It's the best shortcut to spending more money. The more you can entertain somebody, the more you could get that free awareness, the better off you're going to be. But if you're not planning on entertaining and getting those eyeballs, basically getting attention and then having something to watch and so on, then you have to compensate with tons of money in media to build that, because people are not attracted to it. People aren't attracted to B2B sales. They're not, this isn't stuff they go towards and gravitate towards in their everyday lives unless they're really in that like shopping mode.
Right.
In which case the others who have, paved those paths are going to be well ahead of you by the time they make those decisions. Yeah. So that's the shortcut, is truly it's figuring out where people are at, how best to get their attention, and then you'll gain those opportunities on the back end when it comes time for them to make a decision.
Perfect. How do you feel about that answer? Anything else you can think of that we should?
I think we're at time. Anything else is going to be a repeat.
Right. No, I think this was really good. And this is something I really enjoy talking about. Obviously I could go on and on. I've been in sales forever and I enjoy this and I enjoy these conversations, but I think we'll leave it here for now. And Todd, if you want to continue this conversation or want some clarity on anything we've discussed today, feel free to reach out to us again. So folks, until next time, I really appreciate you tuning in. If you have a question that you would like for us to answer on Second Impressions, anything related to marketing, send us an email right here at the bottom, secondimpressions@astound.com, and we'll be glad to answer your question for you. So from the team here at Astound, appreciate you joining us again. Until next time, be well.
Later, everybody.